How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Luke from Oatmeal Robotics, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanical Mayhem. Today we are going through about 1.5 rounds today, since the losers bracket has a few more rounds, because some of the losers from the winners bracket get knocked down to the losers bracket, and it draws out the losers bracket. Anyhow, without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Our first fight of the day is going to be Phantom and Blank. Both very strong vertical spinners. Phantom with the 4-wheel drive, Blank with the 2-wheel drive, but they've both been very dominant this season. Phantom just coming off of a win against, I believe it was Tungsten, and Blank coming off a very quick win against Spellbreak. So without further ado, let's start off with Blank. Like I said, they just came off of, I believe it was like a 26-second match against Spellbreak where they threw him out the arena. They've already destroyed Lightning this season. They've gone several very strong wins. That kind of drumette on the front of that robot is no joke. They are going to be running the forks against Phantom this time, and they are planning to kind of hit the sides and pop up Phantom. And we got Phantom, who's trying to do kind of the same thing. They're definitely not afraid of going weapon on weapon with Blank, but those very wide, thick forks on Blank might give Phantom a little bit of trouble. So they're going to try to get to the side of the forks, maybe the side armor, anything they can get that drum purchased on, they are going to absolutely punt. So without further ado, let's see how this fight goes down at the box. Alright, both robots are in the arena, and looks like the fight is just about to begin. Right off the gate, we can see Phantom coming to the center of the box. Blank looking like it was having some drive trouble at the end of its last match, and it looks like that drive issue might be coming back already, which is really not where you want to be if you're fighting Phantom. Massive shot from Phantom, sending Blank flying into the air, and it looks like they've already thrown him out the arena. What a quick fight. Phantom showing that they are such a dominant force this season. They have proven to be a very serious contender, and they are going on to face the winner of the next match of the winners bracket. Blank is down but not out. They still have a chance in the losers bracket, and if they can get that drive issue solved, they still are looking very powerful this season. So while they are down, do not count them out yet. All right, our next match of the day is going to be between Pumpkin and Mayhem, both very strong robots. Pumpkin was having some electrical issues. I'm not sure what voltage they're running. At the start of the season, it was 7.4 volts. Right now, it might be 6.7. So they will be a little weaker, but they should still be hitting very hard. But let's start off with Mayhem. They have a wedge configuration for this match, so they're hoping to kind of deflect Pumpkin away. And they're just going to try to hit on those corners and those forks, kind of like what Phantom just did with Blank. They're going to try to do the same with Pumpkin. It is going to be harder for them, though, because Pumpkin has such a wide disc. Speaking of Pumpkin, we have Pumpkin. They are looking to just go weapon on weapon. They are full gas, no brakes. They are just kamikaze all the way through. They either kill something or they die trying. And it's a one-trick robot, but it's quite a good trick. So without further ado, let's see if it works out for them down at the box. Alright, looks like the robots are in the arena. You can see Mayhem there with its wedges, and it looks like the fight's just about to begin. Already a pretty good shot there from Mayhem, doing pretty good against Pumpkin. Pumpkin, like I said, they have lowered their battery voltage for reliability, so look for them to be a little more sluggish, but they are still getting to the back of Mayhem. Those wedges on Mayhem might be kind of propping them up on just their rear wheels, which is going to really hurt their drive. And it looks like Pumpkin is already ripping off part of the front of Mayhem. You can see that wedge is kind of coming up, but that is held in there with a little metal rod, so that's more likely the PLA plastic being ripped from the support that it's attached to, which is some pretty big damage in Pumpkin's favor. But Mayhem still looking pretty resilient going through. They kind of rode up on Pumpkin's weapon, which is a really interesting thing. We're going to have to see how that plays, if that keeps happening or not. But it looks like Pumpkin is kind of just like a perfect wedge shape to get under Mayhem's weapon. But Pumpkin not moving the best right now. We got to see if they can... They're moving enough to stay in the fight, but they do run on those stock motors. They don't run on the little smaller platinum ones. They run on the just bare like stock that comes in the Bite Force, so they are a little slower with this lower voltage. And you can see Pumpkin ripping off that wedge even more now. That thing is hanging on by a thread, just like a little bit of hot glue. And a great shot there from Mayhem, sending Pumpkin flying. Pumpkin shrugging it off and getting a good counter shot. Ripping off that little wedge fully now. So Mayhem has to make sure that they don't get hit on that side, because Pumpkin does have the ability to really damage the chassis if it can hit it. And a nice shot there. I don't know if that was from Pumpkin or from Mayhem hitting Pumpkin's weapon and kind of bouncing up. But Pumpkin kind of being a little bit more controlled. They know that they don't have the speed this match, so they're having to go with control. Just let that weapon kind of do its thing. Just deliver just enough. And Mayhem's weapon looked to have stopped for a second there, but it looks like they just spun it down, getting ran into the wall. This is a very... I don't know if it's a close fight. Both of these robots seem to be not at their fullest form here, which is kind of unfortunate. But you'd got to think Pumpkin's a little more controlled. Mayhem had a better shot, but Pumpkin seems to have done a little more damage. So that is going to be a very interesting thing to factor into the judge's decision should we go all the way. But it's not looking like any of these are going to get a kill shot anytime soon. And you can see Mayhem's weapon is starting to come out. And Pumpkin looks to have thrown off something else on Mayhem. Mayhem's weapon is starting to come a little more loose. As we come to the closing seconds of the match, they look like they are going to get away with it. Yep, that's the end of the match. So Mayhem's weapon does stay attached. And the winner by decision is Pumpkin. So Mayhem going down to the losers bracket. I believe they're fighting Blank. But Pumpkin moving on to fight Phantom. That is going to be a very, very explosive match, I got a feeling. All right, our next fight is going to be between Atlantis and Tungsten. Atlantis has had kind of a resurgence, and Tungsten has been just flat out dominant. So without further ado, let's start off with Atlantis. Like I said, they kind of had like a resurgence once they swapped out that drone motor for a stock or a platinum one. The drum's spinning smooth. The drive is very powerful. They're very controlled. This is a very good, well-rounded robot. I believe they can drive upside down, but they don't have the thickest of top armor, so they have to be very careful, because if Tungsten punches through that top armor, it can hit a battery, it can hit the drive motors. I don't think there's enough reach on Tungsten to hit the weapon motor, but it can hit very sensitive parts, and also those drive belts, so they need to be careful. They don't have any extra top armor, so they just gotta watch out. And then we have Tungsten, who's trying to hit all that stuff. Tungsten, those forks haven't been the lowest. They've been getting peeled up, so they want to avoid Atlantis getting under them and peeling up those forks. But if they can avoid that, they can just wait for the weapon to strike down. They have the advantage going into this. They can hit wires, they can hit batteries, they can hit motors. It is basically going to be a feast for Tungsten if they can keep those forks flat on the ground. So without further ado, let's see if they can or cannot down at the box. All right, the robots are in the arena, and the fight is just about to begin. And right away, Tungsten with a nice box rush before Atlantis can even move. Just throwing that weapon wherever they can. I don't know if throwing it into the drum is going to be the best idea for them, so they might want to kind of control their patience a little bit more. But Atlantis just taking a little bit of time. Tungsten way faster, so Atlantis might struggle there. But they are keeping their face fairly forward towards Tungsten. And Tungsten, you can see those forks already getting a little peeled up. But they are throwing that hammer down, just trying to jam up that drum on Atlantis. Almost getting to the back there, but Atlantis moving last second. Tungsten throwing that drum again. Not the best move you'd want to think. Getting pushed into the wall by Atlantis now. And their forks are all kinds of messed up, looking like Edward Scissorhands. Tungsten kind of propped up now, and Atlantis just getting under them, no issues. If they can get that drum into play, they can absolutely flip Tungsten over, pop him up just like that. That's a great shot if you're Atlantis. But now that actually helped Tungsten. They're back on all four wheels and getting to the side. And now they're at the back of Atlantis. This is not where you want to be if you're Atlantis. And they are hitting right where the battery is. That is very dangerous. That could cause a fire if they can hit a couple more times. But it looks like they're actually going to need an unstick going straight through the top plate. And now Atlantis back in the match. Their drum's still working, so they didn't hit anything too important. Um, but Tungsten just continuing to throw the hammer down, shot after shot. And Atlantis trying to get away, but not successful so far. Then trying to figure out, just trying to regain their bearings. Atlantis is. Tungsten is just so fast. Looks like Tungsten just going for the pin, just letting that weapon spin up, deciding to back off. You know, they want to save that weapon power for getting hits on the back. Like there, that's a good shot to the wheel of Tungsten or Atlantis. Sorry, but those wheels are pretty durable. I mean, they've withstood hits from Pumpkin and and Tungsten. My goodness, I'm getting these two mixed up. And right in the corner again, a couple more shots, almost hitting the weapon pulley there. They might have actually hit it, I'm not sure, but it looks like Atlantis' drum is still spinning, so at least it's durable enough to take a shot or two there. And it looks like, yep, Tungsten just keeps on hitting the supports on Atlantis. Oh, they hit the top plate, and you can see that top plate on Atlantis is ripped up now, breaking apart from where the screws are holding it in place. And now picking up Atlantis. Oh my goodness, these are very deep shots that Tungsten is getting. As we come to the closing seconds of the match, you gotta think that might have changed the tide of the fight. And embedding their weapon into Atlantis one more time. And it looks like that is going to secure the win for Tungsten. Oh man, Atlantis losing a side of drive there. I think they might have hit the motor or something. But good job to Tungsten. Not their most dominant win, but definitely showing that the drive issues that they've had in previous matches are now gone. So they will be moving on. All right, our next match is going to be between Ocean Commotion and Squish. These are two very solid robots. And without further ado, let's just start looking at their stats. First off, we have Squish. Coming off of a win against Bloodlust, I believe their weapon had broken by the end of that last match, but I think they swapped out their weapon motor here. So we are going to have to see if that weapon stays spinning the whole match. And it looked like they might have been having a bit of radio issues last time as well. So look out to see if they can be controlled the whole 3 minutes, or if they're going to start sputtering, in which case Ocean Commotion can definitely capitalize. But they do have the lower forks as well. Squish's forks are some of the lowest in the competition, so they're going to try to control and spin around and try to hit the sides of Ocean Commotion, pop them up, maybe flip them over, just do whatever they can to dish out as much damage as quickly as possible to avoid any issues going wrong with them. Next up, we have Ocean Commotion, who's been very interesting this season. They haven't fought a horizontal yet. They just came off of a win against Catastrophe, who's an angled, but this is their first time actually going up against a horizontal. I believe they're going with their pontoons, so they will be able to deal with the spinner more, but they will lose some ground game. So that is the challenge going up against Squish. It's like fighting rock and paper. But Ocean Commotion is very well rounded, so if anyone could do it, it would be them. So without further ado, let's see how this match goes down at the box. All right, the robots are in the arena. You can see Ocean Commotion does indeed have those pontoons, and the match has begun. Right away, Ocean Commotion looking a little quicker than Squish. Squish suddenly not moving. A good shot there from Ocean Commotion, but can Squish move? They were having radio issues, and it looks like it is... They are moving now, just ever so slightly. It doesn't look like they're able to move, but that weapon is still spinning. And Ocean Commotion kind of giving him another little tap, and it looks like it's Squish just avoiding a count out, moving just enough. And it looks like Ocean Commotion either got caught up on something, or I think their back wheel might have got hit by Squish's weapon, in which case Squish just has to move a little bit every now and then to keep in this match. And they do have a pretty solid shot if Ocean Commotion's drive is messed up. This is a very interesting paced match. You can see both drivers just kind of peeking over, trying to see what's happening. And it looks like it's Squish caught up on something. No, I guess the angle is just weird. And a great shot between the two of them, sending Ocean Commotion to the other side of the box. And it looks like Squish has just enough movement. And it's very intermittent drive, but you can see that it looks like the back right wheel on Ocean Commotion is a little out of place. So Squish, they keep moving, and Ocean Commotion trying to move, but they can't really move outside of that radius because of those four-wheel drive setup. It's not really letting them crab walk effectively. And Squish just getting a couple more hits. It's a very slow-paced match. Uh, Now getting under Ocean Commotion with the disc somehow. You can see that pontoon on Ocean Commotion is getting propped up, and one of them has just straight up come off. That's definitely not good for them. But that weapon on Ocean Commotion is still very much in play, and you can see it working there. Any big weapon on weapon shot could completely knock out one of these two robots. Squish getting another pretty decent shot there, and it looked like it took off a corner on Ocean Commotion. A nice shot there again from Squish. After a really rough start to the match, they are starting to come alive just a little bit more, but you can see how much Marco's struggling to drive Squish, and somehow Squish put themselves on top of Ocean Commotion. Ocean Commotion still trying to crab walk, not giving up. Squish not moving again. Okay, now they're moving once Marco gets his hand in there. And a couple more little love taps. Nothing too crazy, but Squish getting under Ocean Commotion with the forks there a little bit. Both of these robots definitely feeling the effect of the length of the tournament now. We come to the final seconds of the match, and it looks like that is going to be the match. Very interesting fight, but the judges did end up giving it to Squish. Very unfortunate exit for Ocean Commotion. They definitely had a really good shot at the beginning of the match. Squish just got the lucky hit on their rear wheel, and that was kind of all she wrote. So a big thank you for Chaotic Robotics and Oof Robotics as well for sending in their robots. But I believe they are all out at this point, so it is all Oatmeal Robotics machines from here. Speaking of which, we have Tungsten and Blank. Both of these robots have been absolutely destructive. We've already kind of gone over the whole spiel. Blank, we really need to see if they fix the drive issues. And Tungsten, they just need to keep their forks on the floor. So without further ado, let's head straight down to the box. All right, the robots are in the arena. You gotta think that if Tungsten can hit anything on Blank, they could do some serious damage. But it looks like Blank's drive is working this time, so they do have a much better shot than if it wasn't working. But right away, uh-oh, that's not good. Tungsten hitting kind of where the weapon motor on Blank is. We have to look at Blank's weapon, see if that's still spinning after this. And it looks like hitting off some of the armor on the top plate. Blank just really not able to get away, but they did come out alive. Is that weapon on Blank spinning? It does not look like it. It looks like Tungsten, in that first kind of flurry of smashes, broke Blank's weapon. So now Blank is kind of a sitting duck. But they are still able to drive, so they just need to see if they can outlast Tungsten, maybe get him, push him around, something, anything. But Tungsten not making it easy. They are just hitting that weapon motor over and over again, making sure there's no shot it works. And it looks like Blank, they might be having drive issues again. That right side drive is looking a little sluggish, but it is still moving. Tungsten just hitting Blank over and over again. Blank just kind of, throwing their forks, sticking their forks in there, just trying to create any amount of space. The forks on Tungsten are coming up again a little bit, so we do need to watch out for that. But Blank not moving the best right now, as Tungsten pins them once more. And it looks like they are just throwing that weapon down. They don't really care where they hit. Blank is pretty well heavily top armored, so any throws, like any weapon blows from Tungsten, probably won't KO it in terms of drive or on the board or anything. But if they can get just any amount of like superficial damage, that is going to count as points towards their score if it goes to the judges. But Blank's still moving. You can see once they get going, they actually can get up to a pretty decent speed. But Tungsten just so much faster with that 2-cell lithium polymer battery and that Bite Force drivetrain. Looks like they have a pretty nice shot lined up again. But they aren't moving. And is Tungsten dead? I think Tungsten's dead. Tungsten can't move. Tungsten is powered off, and Blank is moving. Blank is going to pull off possibly the upset of the season. I mean, I don't know. Spellbreak and Bloodlust is pretty good, but this is absolutely, undeniably a shock of like twist. Holy cow. Blank coming away with a knockout victory just by out surviving Tungsten. Tungsten thought to be one of the big three to win the championship, now out of the tournament. So good job to Blank. They actually pulled it off. Holy cow. All right, next up we have Squish and Mayhem. Both of these robots had rough last matches. So let's see who's gonna suck less this time, I guess. Both of these robots really are feeling the heat of battle. So let's head down to the box. All right, both of the robots are in the arena. The fight is about to begin. Interestingly enough, Mayhem is going with its forks this time. I guess, I don't know if the wedge got too damaged or what, but you can see one side of drive on Mayhem is not as good as the other, and Blank is still having those radio issues. Or not Blank, sorry, Squish. So this is going to be a very interesting match. Both of these robots already coming into the box quite wounded. These last matches were all kind of held on the same day, so it was a quick turnaround after fighting really strong opponents. So Mayhem kind of just crab walking, Squish having those intermittent issues again, but Mayhem's definitely looking a little bit more aggressive. Squish with that deadly spinner though, so Mayhem can't be reckless, but getting a really good shot there on Squish and somehow waking Squish back up. Squish just kind of driving into the walls. Like you can tell something's wrong with them from a radio issue or from a radio standpoint, but they are moving around just enough. Mayhem, I'm guessing they'd like to be more aggressive, but they really can't, and it looks like Mayhem's now stuck in the wall, and you can see a part of the Squish's armor is on the floor now. I think that was from pumpkin, and it was just kind of super glued back on. Now coming off. Mayhem's still stuck in the wall, but getting freed now, backing up into Squish's weapon. Squish kind of on their own armor now. But Mayhem deciding to keep going, keep engaging, give a good show. And it looks like Mayhem might be having some durability issues, or is that just the lighting? I think that's just the lighting, actually. A nice shot there from Squish. When it comes alive, it hits pretty hard still, but it's very tired, I think. I don't know. Maybe it took some melatonin. Maybe it drank a little too much. Who knows? You can see my dog on the left side there. That's Kona. Everyone say hi to Kona, please. Anyhow, Mayhem still looking like the more aggressive of the two robots. You can see the weapon shaft is starting to come undone on Mayhem again. That's been a recurring problem for them this season. But I doubt Squish is going to have enough consistent hits to really rip it out. So... oh, I guess Mayhem's just going to do it themselves. So now Mayhem is nothing but a control robot, and Squish still isn't moving. So you got to think Mayhem's not going to be too much more eager to keep on attacking Squish, but looks like they are. I guess I'm wrong. This is a very slow-paced match, but it is still... there are some big hits here. It is going to come down to kind of... has Mayhem's control and aggression outweighed them losing their disc, and it could be Squish losing that side armor again could decide the match, because it does count as damage in Mayhem's favor. But it looks like that is going to be the end of the match, and it looks like the judges are going to end up awarding it to Mayhem. So good job to them. They have to fight the loser of I believe Squish or not Squish. The next match, which is going to be Phantom and Pumpkin. So that's going to be a very interesting match. And then Squish is now out of the tournament. All right, we actually have one more match for you guys tonight. This is an exhibition match between Ocean Commotion and Mayhem, even though Mayhem's still in the tournament. But this was kind of a little HRCL match that's going to happen. So I figured I'll show it now. So let's head down to the box. All right, we're in the box, and we are just getting straight into it. Right off the bat, you can see Ocean Commotion a little quicker, but Mayhem getting underneath them. These are two very similar robots, but Mayhem just kind of the more defensive take on the Tower Vert meta, and Ocean Commotion the more offensive. You can see Mayhem getting flipped over there, but bouncing off of that disc and getting back on its feet. Both of these robots locking horns, just exchanging blows really quick. And it looks like one of Ocean Commotion's forks has been ripped off by Mayhem. Wait, no, that wasn't their fork. What was that? I have no clue what came off. Oh, that was actually part of Mayhem. That was their entire right side that Pumpkin had ripped off. Getting flipped by Ocean Commotion again. Both of these robots are Very, very powerful, very, very quick. Looks like that actually might have fixed Mayhem's drive issues. And a massive shot sends both of these robots upside down. Mayhem with that self-rider, but now propped up on the wall, but getting off. And Ocean Commotion stuck upside down. They can't spin that way. So Mayhem definitely coming with the advantage now. Getting Ocean Commotion propped up on their side, stuck like that. Can they get them out of the arena? Let's see if they can line up a good shot. Might be a little difficult, but they have done it. They have actually knocked out Ocean Commotion. Nice little quick match, but good job to Mayhem. They win a grudge match against Ocean Commotion. So that's going to be it, guys. If you liked the video, make sure to, like, subscribe, whatever the heck you want. I don't care at the end of the day. But we are down to the final episode. Next episode, we are going to see Blank versus Mayhem and Phantom versus Pumpkin. One of these 4 robots will become the Mechanical Mayhem champion. And I'm very excited to see it, and I hope you guys are too. So without further ado, I'll see you next time. Bye.
But he refused.
But he said, nah, I can't do it.